During my son's engagement party on our yacht, his fiancée cornered me near the stern deck, champagne in hand, and whispered with a smile that never reached her eyes, "Transfer $2 million to my account by Monday, or I'll tell everyone you assaulted me in your office last month." I calmly reached into my jacket pocket, pulled out a small device, and pressed play. Her scream cut through the jazz music and cocktail laughter like a knife. The party ended in 15 minutes. But I should start from the beginning. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon in March. I was reviewing acquisition papers for a Lamborghini dealership in Buckhead when my phone lit up with Michael's name. My son rarely called during business hours. He worked as an accountant for a mid-sized firm downtown, kept regular hours, took his lunch at noon. This was unusual. "Dad, are you free tonight?" Michael's voice carried an unfamiliar brightness. "I need to introduce you to someone special. Her name is Natasha. We met 2 months ago at a charity gala, and Dad, she's incredible. I think this might be it." My pen stilled over the contract. 2 months wasn't long, but Michael was 28, thoughtful, careful with decisions. If he wanted me to meet her, it meant something. "Of course, son. Come by the house around 7. I'll order from that steakhouse you like." After we hung up, I sat back in my leather chair and looked out at the Atlanta skyline. Michael had dated before, but never with this urgency in his voice. His mother, Catherine, had passed 6 years ago from cancer. In that time, I'd watched my son navigate grief, build his career, stay cautious about relationships. This sudden enthusiasm felt both wonderful and unsettling. That evening they arrived precisely at 7. Michael came through the door with nervous energy, straightening his tie twice in the entryway. The woman beside him moved with practiced grace, her designer dress probably costing more than most people's monthly rent. Dark hair fell in perfect waves past her shoulders. Her handshake was firm, calculated, and her smile stayed frozen in place. "Mr. Morrison, I've heard so much about you." She had a slight accent, Eastern European maybe. "Michael talks about your success constantly. This home is stunning." Her eyes didn't admire, they appraised. She moved through my living room like a prospector surveying a claim, pausing at the Steinway piano, the collection of vintage photographs, the credenza that had belonged to Catherine's grandmother. Before I could offer a tour, she was photographing everything with her phone. "Natasha has an incredible eye for interior design," Michael said quickly. "She actually has a fashion and lifestyle Instagram, over 300,000 followers. How impressive." I led them to the dining room where dinner was already set. That's quite an audience. During the meal, I learned Natasha claimed to be a fashion influencer and consultant. She mentioned brand partnerships, exclusive events, trips to Paris and Milan. Michael hung on every word, barely touching his steak. But I'd built 3 successful dealerships by reading people, and something in her performance felt rehearsed. Too smooth, too practiced. Then the questions started. "Michael mentioned you own multiple dealerships," she said, cutting her asparagus with surgical precision. "The luxury market must be quite lucrative, especially in Atlanta. It has its good years and challenging ones." She smiled. "But you must do well. This neighborhood, Brookhaven, isn't exactly affordable, and Michael showed me photos of your lake house." "That's just a weekend place," Michael interjected, looking uncomfortable. "Still," she continued, reaching over to touch Michael's hand, "it shows what hard work can build. That's so important for family security. Michael and I have been talking about starting a family soon. Having a strong foundation matters, don't you think?" The implication hung in the air like humidity before a storm. I took a slow sip of wine, choosing my words carefully. Building security takes time. Michael's doing well in his career. "Of course, but family helps family." Natasha's eyes locked onto mine. "That's what makes some families so successful. They support each other's dreams, invest in each other's futures." Michael shifted in his seat. "We're figuring things out, Dad, just taking it step by step." But Natasha wasn't finished. She mentioned her student loans, then wondered how I handled estate planning. She complimented the wine, then asked what vintage cars cost. She praised Michael's work ethic, then noted how expensive childcare would be in good neighborhoods. Every question was a probe. Every compliment was bait. When they finally left around 10, Natasha hugged me at the door, leaning close. Thank you for being so welcoming. Michael's lucky to have such a generous father. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of each other. Michael's goodbye was distracted, eager to leave. I watched their taillights disappear down the street, Natasha, already on her phone before they'd even left my driveway. I spent the next morning unable to focus on work. Every detail from dinner replayed in my mind. The way she'd photographed my home without asking permission. The pointed questions about money and property. Michael's discomfort, his silence during her financial interrogations. It felt wrong. Familiar. Like recognizing a scam I'd seen variations of throughout my years in business. By Wednesday afternoon, I'd made a decision. I called James Chen, a friend who ran background verification services. We'd known each other for 15 years, through various business networks. James, I need a favor. Unofficial. It's about my son's girlfriend. He didn't ask why. Send me her information. The call back came Thursday morning. Richard, this is completely off the record. Understand? I understand. Natasha Volkov. Real name is actually Natasha Kovacs, changed legally 3 years ago. Currently lists an address in Midtown, but she was evicted from a luxury apartment in Buckhead 8 months ago. Monthly rent was $4,000. She's carrying $62,000 in credit card debt across 9 cards, all maxed. 3 collection agencies have active judgments against her. My hand tightened around the phone. 62,000. James continued. There's more. She started bankruptcy proceedings last year but never completed them. And Richard, her Instagram? Most of those brand partnerships are fake. She buys followers and engagement. The luxury lifestyle is smoke and mirrors. After hanging up, I sat motionless in my office. 62,000 in debt. Evicted. 3 lawsuits. But online, she projected wealth and success, the engagement talk, the family planning, the pointed questions about my assets. She wasn't marrying Michael. She was marrying access to what she thought he had, or more accurately, what she knew I had. I called Michael that evening at 6, after he'd be home from work. Son, we need to talk about Natasha. I had someone look into her financial background. There are some serious red flags. What? His voice immediately sharpened. What are you talking about? Michael, she has over $60,000 in debt. She was evicted. She's being sued by collection agencies. The Instagram lifestyle isn't real. You investigated her? The explosion came through the phone like a physical blow. You had someone spy on my girlfriend? Dad, what is wrong with you? Listen to me. These are facts. She has 9 maxed credit cards. She's been evicted for non-payment. This is serious financial trouble, and with how she was asking questions at dinner, how dare you? His voice cracked with pain and fury. I'm 28 years old. I don't need you investigating people I date like I'm some child who can't make decisions. I'm trying to protect you. This is about a pattern of behavior. She targets men with, you can't stand seeing me happy. You never could. After Mom died, you buried yourself in work, and now you can't handle me building a life without you hovering over everything. That's not true. Michael, please just look at the evidence. She was paying rent she couldn't afford. She's buried in debt she's hiding. You're trying to ruin this because you're alone and miserable. His words felt like knives. I should have known you'd find something wrong with anyone I cared about, just like you did with Sarah, just like you did with Emily. Those relationships had real issues, and you know it. No, Dad, the issue is you. Don't call me again. The line went dead. I sat holding the phone in the silence of my empty house. Outside, the March evening was turning dark. I pulled up Natasha's Instagram on my laptop. Every photo showed luxury, designer bags, expensive restaurants, first-class travel, jewelry. Nothing matched the reality of evictions and debt. Nothing made sense unless someone else was funding it, or unless she was hunting for someone who would. I opened a legal pad and started writing everything I knew. Debt amounts, eviction dates, the timeline of her relationship with Michael, every pointed question from dinner. By the time I finished, 4 pages were covered in notes. Michael wouldn't listen, that was clear. Which meant I had maybe 6 weeks before whatever came next. I had to find proof she was targeting him. I had to stop this before she destroyed my son. 2 weeks of silence followed. 14 days where every call to Michael went to voicemail, every text went unanswered. I drove past his apartment twice, saw Natasha's white Mercedes in his spot both times, like she'd moved in. Then James called back with new information, his voice tight with concern. "Richard, Michael just pulled $40,000 from his investment account, his entire savings, and he applied for a personal loan, $50,000 at 19% interest. The bank approved it yesterday." My stomach dropped. $90,000. Michael's entire financial cushion gone. "That's not all," James continued. "I found something else. Natasha has an LLC registered in Delaware, created 3 weeks ago. Company name is NV Luxury Consulting. Michael's name isn't on it. She's the sole owner. What's the business supposed to be? According to the filing, fashion consulting and brand development. But Richard, there's an offshore account connected to it, Cayman Islands, set up the same week she registered the LLC. I thanked James and sat staring at my computer screen. Offshore account, sole ownership despite Michael probably funding it. This was extraction, not partnership. She was setting up to disappear with his money. The engagement announcement appeared on Facebook that Wednesday. Photos of Natasha with a diamond ring, Michael beaming beside her at some upscale restaurant. The caption read, "He said yes. So excited to start this journey with my soulmate. Wedding planning begins now. Over 400 likes. Comments gushing with congratulations." I tried calling Michael. Voicemail. I tried texting. No response. I wrote an email. Subject line, "Son, please read this." It bounced back. He'd blocked my email address. On Friday, a formal invitation arrived by mail. Heavy cardstock with embossed gold lettering. The Morrison-Volkov wedding. Lake Lanier. Engagement party on Yacht. May 15th at 6. Ceremony to follow next month. I researched Lake Lanier yacht venues. The one listed started at $15,000 for evening charters. Premium packages went higher. Much higher. Michael was drowning, and Natasha was adding weights to his pockets. That afternoon, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Richard, it's Natasha. We should talk before the party. It's important for Michael's happiness. Can we meet privately?" I stared at the message for 5 minutes. She was making a move, but toward what? Every instinct I'd honed over 40 years in business screamed this was negotiation, not peace offering. I typed back, "When and where?" Her response came instantly, "Your office. Tomorrow at 5. Michael thinks I'm at a photo shoot. The next morning, I drove to an electronics store in Sandy Springs. A young clerk showed me a recording device the size of a car key fob. This model has 30 hours of battery life. Voice activated. Crystal clear audio up to 20 feet. Is it legal in Georgia? Absolutely. One-party consent state. As long as you're part of the conversation, you can record without telling the other party. I bought it immediately. In my car, I practiced activating it. A small button on the side, a brief blue light, then nothing. I recorded myself reading directions aloud, played it back. Perfect clarity. Natasha arrived at my office at 5 sharp, wearing designer jeans and a cashmere sweater. She looked younger, softer, deliberately vulnerable. I activated the recorder in my jacket pocket before letting her in. The blue light blinked once. "Richard, thank you for seeing me." Her smile was apologetic. I know things got tense. That wasn't how I wanted us to start our relationship as family. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. "What did you want to discuss?" She settled in, accepted a bottle of water, and her expression turned gentle. "Michael's been stressed. This distance between you is breaking his heart. I wanted to see if we could fix things before the engagement party." "I appreciate that." I kept my voice neutral. "Michael matters more than any disagreement." She nodded, relief washing over her features. "I'm so glad you understand." Her pause was calculated. "There is one thing. Michael's been worried about money. The wedding costs more than we planned, and with starting the business. The test. Probing my willingness to provide money before revealing the real demand." "What business?" I asked. "Oh, the consulting firm, NV Luxury. We're investing in it together. Michael's putting in capital, I'm providing the expertise and client base. It's going to be amazing. She lied smoothly. No mention of her being the sole owner. No mention of the offshore account. That sounds ambitious, I said carefully. It is, but we need proper funding. Her voice stayed light, but her eyes were calculating. I wondered if you might help us get started. An investment from you would mean so much to Michael. How much are we talking about? She smiled. Well, we'd need about $200,000 for the first year. Marketing, office space, inventory, staff. But it would be an investment, not a gift. You'd get returns. I'll need to see a full business plan. Let me think about it. Her smile tightened. Not the answer she wanted. Of course. But the engagement party is next week. Having your support confirmed would make Michael so happy. Could we maybe discuss a preliminary amount? Even $100,000 to start? Let's see how the party goes first, I said. Focus on celebrating your engagement. She left 10 minutes later, frustration barely masked behind her smile. After her taillights disappeared, I sat in my darkened office and played back the recording. Every word was clear, every manipulation captured. But it wasn't enough yet. She hadn't revealed her real endgame. The engagement party was 6 days away. Whatever Natasha really wanted, she'd ask for it there. And I'd be ready. Saturday arrived, with perfect May weather. I drove to Lake Lanier at 5, watching the sun reflect off the water like scattered diamonds. The yacht was impressive, easily 60 feet, probably costing Michael $20,000 just for the evening charter. I counted the catering trucks, the floral arrangements being loaded aboard, the string quartet setting up on the upper deck. Another $30,000, minimum. Guests started arriving at 6. Michael's friends from college, co-workers, people I recognized from various social circles. Everyone dressed for an upscale event. I watched Michael greet people near the gangway, looking happy but tired. He'd lost weight. The stress was visible in his face. Natasha held court on the main deck, her engagement ring catching light with every gesture. She wore white, of course, establishing herself as bride-to-be. Her laugh carried across the water, performative and bright. At 7, my phone buzzed. Upper deck. Private. Now, come alone. I climbed the stairs, touching my pocket to confirm the recorder was there. The upper deck was empty except for Natasha standing near the railing, champagne in hand. The sun was setting behind her, painting the sky orange and red. I activated the recorder. The blue light blinked. Richard, beautiful evening, isn't it? Her voice was different now. All business, no softness. It is. Michael seems happy. She turned, her smile razor sharp. Let's talk about keeping him that way. Permanently. I waited. You're going to transfer $2 million to my account by Monday morning. Her tone was casual, discussing weather. Wire transfer. No checks, no delays. Natasha, that's an absurd amount. Is it? She stepped closer. Because the alternative is me telling everyone here, everyone Michael knows, that you sexually assaulted me in your office last Friday. That you've been sending me inappropriate messages for weeks. That when I rejected you, you tried to destroy our relationship with fake financial reports. Ice flooded my veins, but I kept my face neutral. She continued, enjoying herself now. Who do you think they'll believe? A wealthy 62-year-old man or a young woman in a wedding dress? Her voice dropped lower. I'll show them texts. I have fake ones already created. Time-stamped photos of me crying outside your office. A therapist's note about trauma. Michael will never speak to you again. Your business reputation will be destroyed. Dealerships don't do well when the owner is accused of sexual assault. You'll be finished. She paused, letting it land. Or, you pay me $2 million, play the generous future father-in-law, and everyone stays happy. Your choice. You have 60 seconds to decide. The silence stretched. 3 seconds. 4. 5. I reached into my pocket slowly. Her eyes followed my hand, expecting agreement. Maybe a phone to authorize the transfer. Instead, I pulled out the small recorder and held it up. The blue light was still on. Natasha, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. Her face drained of color. What is that? Every word from the moment you started talking about $2 million. I pressed stop. The blue light went dark. All recorded. You can't. That's illegal. Give me that. She lunged forward, grabbing at the device. I pulled back, stepping toward the stairs. Georgia is a one-party consent state, completely legal. You recorded me without permission. Her voice rose to a shriek. You set me up. I walked quickly down the stairs toward the main deck. She followed, still reaching for my arm. Richard, wait. Please, we can work this out. I didn't mean... The string quartet had just finished a song. The main deck was full of guests, conversations humming. I walked straight to the sound system, where the hired DJ was setting up for dancing. I need you to play this through your speakers, loud enough for everyone to hear. Sir, the party schedule, now. I handed him the recorder and a cable. He looked confused, but complied. Natasha rushed onto the deck, mascara starting to run, face twisted with panic. Michael appeared from the bar area, his expression confused. Dad? What's happening? What are you doing? The recording began. Natasha's voice filled the yacht through crystal-clear speakers. You're going to transfer $2 million to my account by Monday morning. Every conversation stopped. 100 people froze mid-sentence. The recording continued. Her threat about assault accusations, the fake texts, the therapist's note. Every calculated word captured perfectly. Because the alternative is me telling everyone here, everyone Michael knows, that you sexually assaulted me. Michael stood paralyzed, his face cycling through disbelief, recognition, horror. When the recording ended, the silence was absolute. Even the water lapping against the yacht seemed to quiet. Natasha stumbled backward. That's edited. He manipulated the audio. Richard, how could you make up lies? I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and forwarded the original file to my lawyer, to James, to 3 other witnesses. All with metadata. All with timestamps. Unedited. Michael, I said quietly. There's more you need to know. But not here. Michael stared at his fiancée, then at me, his voice breaking. Tell me you faked that recording. Tell me this isn't real. Natasha's mouth opened, but no convincing lie emerged. She'd built her scam on manipulation, not truth. Without the leverage of false accusations, she had nothing. One of Michael's friends near the front called out, I heard what I heard. That woman just tried to blackmail you for $2 million. Michael turned to Natasha, tears starting to form. Was any of it real? Did you ever actually love me? She couldn't answer. The truth was too ugly. Michael looked at me, and for the first time in 6 weeks really saw me. Dad, I'm so sorry. I should have listened. The engagement party dissolved within 30 minutes. Guests left in uncomfortable clusters, whispering. The yacht captain offered to cut the charter short, no additional charges. Michael and I sat on the lower deck as the boat returned to dock, watching the last colors fade from the sky. You tried to tell me, Michael said, his voice hollow. At dinner. Over the phone. In all those texts I deleted, you were right about everything, and I called you controlling. You were manipulated by someone very good at it. That's not your fault. I lost everything. My savings. The loan. I invested $90,000 in her fake company, Dad. $90,000 I don't have. I put my hand on his shoulder. Money can be replaced. You can't. That's all that matters. We sat in silence as the yacht docked. Natasha had disappeared the moment we reached shore, probably calling a lawyer, probably planning her next move. But that night, Michael came home with me. We sat in my kitchen until 2 a.m. talking, not about Natasha, about grief, about Catherine, about the years since her death and how we'd both been navigating loss alone. The lawsuit Natasha filed arrived 3 weeks later. Civil complaint, claims of entrapment, emotional distress, defamation, damages sought, $500,000. Her lawyer had crafted a narrative where I was the villain, jealous and controlling, who'd manufactured evidence to destroy my son's happiness. My lawyer, Robert Martinez, reviewed the complaint in his office, making notes in red ink across every page. This is aggressive, but fundamentally flawed. We have the recording, we have metadata, we have witness testimony from 100 people who were there. Can she win? Robert shook his head. Win? No. Make it expensive and annoying? Absolutely. Discovery will be invasive. Depositions. But we have something better. What? 3 hours later, I sat in Robert's conference room with a private investigator named Sarah Walsh. She'd been working the case for 2 weeks. The file she presented was 3 inches thick. Natasha Kovacs, she began, has run this exact scheme 4 times in the past 6 years. She spread photos across the table. This is David Brennan, tech executive from Austin, dated Natasha in 2019. She claimed pregnancy, demanded money for medical care, and to go away quietly. He paid $75,000. She slid another photo over. Marcus Chen, real estate investor, Seattle, 2020. Same pattern, fake pregnancy. Paid $60,000 before she disappeared. 2 more photos. James Mitchell, Nashville, 2021. $50,000. Brandon White, Charlotte, 2022. $80,000. All threatened with false accusations if they didn't pay. All chose to pay rather than fight. Sarah looked at me directly. You're the first one who recorded her, the first one who fought back. These men are willing to testify if it helps stop her from doing this again. The court date arrived in August, Fulton County Superior Court. I sat beside Robert at the defense table, watching Natasha's lawyer arrange papers with practiced confidence. Michael sat in the gallery behind me. He'd spent the past 3 months rebuilding, therapy twice a week, slowly recovering financially. But the damage Natasha had done was still visible in his careful movements, his quiet voice. Judge Harrison presided, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and zero patience for frivolous lawsuits. Natasha took the stand first, swearing oath with practiced sincerity. Her lawyer guided her through a prepared narrative. She'd fallen in love with Michael, been excited to join his family, but Richard had been hostile from their first meeting, investigating her background without permission, then recording a private conversation where she'd been joking poorly about needing money. He played that recording at our engagement party in front of 100 people, she said, tears forming perfectly. It destroyed everything. Michael lost money. I lost my reputation. All because Richard couldn't accept someone loving his son. Robert didn't cross-examine aggressively. He asked 3 simple questions. Miss Kovacs, how many men have you dated in the past 6 years who were significantly older and financially established? Natasha hesitated. I don't see how that's relevant. Your Honor, Robert said. It will become extremely relevant. Then Robert began. Your Honor, this isn't about a father's jealousy. It's about a documented predator who has run this identical scheme on at least 4 previous victims. He presented audio forensic analysis first. Expert testimony confirming the Yacht recording was authentic, unedited, with verified timestamps. Natasha's lawyer objected repeatedly. Judge Harrison overruled each time. Next came the financial evidence. Natasha's credit report showing $62,000 in debt, the eviction records, the LLC registration showing her sole ownership despite telling Michael they were partners, the offshore Cayman Islands account. Then Robert called David Brennan to the stand. A man in his mid-40s entered, expensive suit, successful but carrying visible shame. He wouldn't look at Natasha. Mr. Brennan, how do you know the plaintiff? I dated her for 6 months in 2019. His voice was quiet. It ended when she told me she was pregnant, said it was mine. Then she needed $75,000 for medical care and to go away quietly. Or she'd tell my ex-wife during our custody dispute. What did you do? I paid. He produced bank records, text messages where Natasha explicitly demanded money. 2 weeks after I paid, she texted that she'd miscarried. Then she disappeared, changed her number, moved, gone. The courtroom was silent. Michael made a small sound behind me. Robert continued methodically. Marcus Chen testified next. Then James Mitchell. Each told the same story. Fake pregnancy or assault threat. Demand for money. Payment. Disappearance. 4 men. $265,000 extracted through blackmail. Judge Harrison's face grew darker with each testimony. When the last victim finished, She looked directly at Natasha. Miss Kovacs, these testimonies present a clear pattern of fraudulent behavior. Natasha stood suddenly. Those men are lying. This is a conspiracy. Richard paid them to... Miss Kovacs, sit down. The judge's voice was steel. Your claim that Mr. Morrison recorded you illegally is incorrect. Georgia is a one-party consent state. Your claim of emotional distress is undermined by evidence that you attempted to extort $2 million. And your credibility is destroyed by 4 previous victims with documented evidence of identical schemes. She paused. This lawsuit is dismissed with prejudice. Furthermore, Ms. Kovacs, you are ordered to pay defendants legal costs in the amount of $63,000. I'm also referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for investigation of fraud, extortion, and conspiracy charges. The gavel came down like thunder. I walked out of the courthouse into humid August heat, loosening my tie. Robert was satisfied. Harrison doesn't make DA referrals lightly. Natasha is facing criminal charges now. Then I saw Michael standing by the courthouse fountain, alone. He looked different, older, sadder, but clearer somehow. Dad, he said when I approached. The things those men said. The pattern. She researched me before we even met, didn't she? I think so, son. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way. Michael's voice broke. I sued my own father. I chose her over you. I believed every lie she told me. And I still love you. That never changed for 1 second. We stood there in the Georgia heat, father and son, slowly finding our way back. 3 months later, Michael moved back into his old apartment. He'd paid off the loan, slowly rebuilding his finances. Started dating again, carefully this time. The trauma would take time, but he was healing. As for me, I found something unexpected. Sarah Walsh, the private investigator who'd built the case against Natasha, called one evening. Not about the case, just to talk. She'd lost her sister to a similar scam 10 years ago. Her sister had died by suicide after losing everything to a con artist. That's why Sarah became an investigator. To stop people like Natasha. We met for coffee. Then dinner. Then became something neither of us had been looking for, but both needed. On a cool November evening, Michael joined Sarah and me for dinner at my house, the same dining room where I'd first met Natasha. But this time, everything felt different, genuine, real. I want to propose a toast, Michael said, raising his glass. To Dad, for not giving up on me when I gave up on you. For standing between me and disaster even when I hated you for it. That's not control, that's love. My throat tightened. You're my son. I'd do it again every time, Michael continued. And to teaching me that real love sometimes means telling hard truths, being patient when everything says to give up, and fighting for people even when they can't see the danger. We clinked glasses and I looked around. My son, healthy and learning. A woman I cared about beside me. A future built not on revenge, but on protecting what matters most. The last I heard, Natasha had fled Georgia before her criminal trial, skipping bail. She'd disappeared, probably running the same scheme in another state with different names. Part of me wanted justice. But the bigger part just wanted her gone from our lives. Because the real victory wasn't destroying her. It was this. Michael safe, my family whole, and learning that sometimes protecting someone you love means standing firm when the whole world tells you to walk away. That's what fathers do. That's what love means. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Click the video on the left to hear another story. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the greatest act of love is refusing to let go, even when they push you away.